Well, I mean, I can start. For us, we have a big concern that we can get that pipeline of talent into the manufacturing jobs, right? And to be honest, that's in the US and across the board. So we're building a new plant in China for a legacy portfolio, but our current plant is 100% people-based, no automation whatsoever. So now to introduce automation into a new plant because we can't afford the rising prices in China, which is kind of interesting, and from a 15% year-on-year salary growth, we're going to have to automate it. But when we go to automate the plant, the base personnel at the manufacturer, supervisor, operator level doesn't exist. So now we're building training centers and software simulation centers to get them up to speed. Same thing exists, and I think it goes back to what Jamie said. If you look at our plant floors for our very complex technologies, we're trying to integrate the process world with the analytical world and really get rid of analytical testing in the lab. Well, we've unfortunately built a very segmented view of the world. The process operator only worried about the process, measure the temperature, measure the pressure, didn't have to worry about an infrared and the whole modeling behind that because that was going to happen in a lab. Well, in the reality, you want them to do that. So we almost need the operators that used to exist. When I started my career at DuPont did that, Dow did that, but for some reason we separated that out as a skill set, and now we're going to have to recreate it. And there isn't really a critical mass of schools that do that. I think most of our engineering schools tend to teach more concept than if I go to, say, a European school. I use University College Dublin as a for instance. Very hands-on, pharmaceutical-based processing integration, right, versus, say, some of our academic institutes in the U.S. So we are very worried. So we're investing in, community colleges, programs. A lot of the states, I had built a plant in Massachusetts. I know New York has programs where they're trying to really develop that next wave because the 35-year supervisors, tenured, they're gone. They've all retired. They've taken what they deserve because they did great things in our industry. There's not a lot of people coming along because most of those people coming along, if their college degree, only want to stay in that job for a year or 18 months. They don't want to stay in that type career for 35 years. So the last part I'd make, is we need to get the human resource processes to also be able to move these people and keep them stimulated within that environment and also create the diversity, both gender and thinking across all the plants, because a plant that's all 100% people from Athens, Georgia, and all 100% people from Seoul, Korea, isn't as strong as a plant that could really mix those. But our human resource practices don't really allow us to move mid-level engineers very easily because the cost model is very prohibitive. So we need to come up with some way to create a more fungible, transportable workforce that's trained in this integration of process and analytical.